Hey everyone, me and my editor are going to talk about Arcane Season 2, Act 1, and possible theories we have, so spoilers ahead.
Hi.
Yes, that is my editor. We're going to be talking about our first thoughts, theories, and what we kind of experienced watching this together, because my god, it was so good and so much. Just right off the rip, I fucking knew Mel Medarda was not dead. I
I
called
have
it.
to. I have to admit, I thought this was a stretch, but you proved me wrong.
I proved you wrong. I called it. I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew it. Everyone said I was insane.
And you held your position strong, and then when the last trailer came out, and you started to doubt it too.
I didn't even doubt it. You told me that looks like a flashback mimic. That looks like a flashback. Oh my god!
You said it was a flashback. Okay,
No, I never said it was a flashback. I said, do you think this could be a flashback? Because I don't think it's a flashback. Look at the new Mel footage spotted was my exact words, and I said, do you think this is like current or do you think this is a flashback? And then when you watched the trailer, you told me, no, this looks like a flashback.
I said the first thing I said was haircut looks different. It might be a new scene. Okay, that's the first thing I said.
That's the first thing you said, but then you watched the trailer and you said,
yeah. It's like there's not flashbacks. Like it's not.
Oh my god, no! Don't mind me. I'm just very passionate.
I did think it was a stretch, and plus your YouTube poll, like they agreed with me.
Okay, half. Okay, we had a dead split on that take. We were like, there's one answer that was like, maybe, I don't know, and then our two answers, which we fought over, dead heat. No way in hell. Like it was getting through those two. Like it was just so good. Oh my god. No. Can we talk about the start of this with fucking Jace getting out of this unharmed because of Mel's armor that she wears?
Yeah. And it's weird because it seems like they don't know, and like even Mel, like I feel like she would bring it up if she knew, right? Oh, hey, I have this thing that protects me, by the way.
Either she doesn't know or she doesn't trust Jace not to try and yap about it.
that is also fair. And we do see it, like in the scene, her stuff is like gone, right? Like it doesn't seem like it's there anymore.
The stuff on her back is gone. There's like literally scorch marks on her back, and that thing hit her dead on. And we'll get back to her armor and how it glows and seems to warn her a little bit later. But not everyone made it out of this unharmed. Her and Jace got off very lucky. Very. Because...
Victor's guard for life, and of course, Killen's mom. I think everyone called that death. Like
she might not have had the dead mom hair, but she was a dead mom from the start. You know, the mechanical guy, I'm pretty sure, is dead, and there's one other councilman that's dead, like the bigger guy who with the beard, he's dead. And then you had the blonde twink man who can no longer use his legs. I don't remember his name.
Sallow.
Yes, Sallow. Yes, we totally didn't just hear that name and I forgot it immediately because he's very forgettable in my opinion. And then
I am surprised in the season because they gave the guy, like, I don't think we even knew the council's name outside of Mel last season, and so now we have their full names and their like full like histories.
I feel like they might have mentioned some of them, but they weren't important enough for us to remember in our minds. No, like it was so good. And then the one of the other women on the council with like the interesting necklace that she wore, which was just like this clockwork around her. She's now scarred too. So half of our predictions right. Half the council is dead. The rest are scattered.
And then by the end of it,
yes, by the end of it, they're scattered and gone and no longer a part of the council. It's looking real bad.
No, yep. They're no longer in power. It's now martial law, which always like turns out great, you know.
Yes, it turns out wonderful. There's no problems with martial law. There's totally not going to be a grudge held by a lesbian who's now in charge. Totally not. You know, Cupcake is going to be fine. She's going to be a great leader. She's not going to have an iron fist. But no, like the art is breathtaking. The new intro is insane.
I will be honest. At first, I didn't like how like artsy it was. Like everyone is in like whites, and it's like this weird like dance like studio thing. But it's like if you thought about it, it's represent them like in their most like core selves, you know, and they're in like whites and like plain clothes.
They're in whites and plain clothes, and they're stripped down of all their honorifics. They're vulnerable. And it's because they're not together anymore. They're all separated. That unity that they used to feel is gone. And it's been ripped away. The art style has been perfected, like you said when we were first watching it. Which I fully agree with. The season 1 was the trial, and this is
because I think like season 1 took like 6 years to make, and like it that was just to make like the art style and the process and the models, and now they have all that, and so now they can go like anywhere with it, you know.
Which again, they're going all out. This is the last season of Arcane, which it's not the last season in this world, but it's the last season of this series.
Yeah, there's no way they're not like going to make more. It make more money. Like Netflix is going to be like, oh well, you know, I guess we made enough. Like no, they're going to keep doing this.
They're going to keep doing this, and now that they have the models, I can see a few of these characters coming back in the future, at the very least, but just not in the way they are now. Because this season's all about understanding what the status quo used to be and just destroying it brick by brick. I have to say, the art style isn't just beautiful by itself, but with how creative and how much they're willing to try new things with this season with different art styles for each episode. Especially with, you know, Caitlin grieving her mother. That sequence with everything being grayed out and almost like it was penciled and drawn in
is beautiful. All the art style changes are like amazing. Like I feel like in most series it would be really jarring, right?
Yeah.
But like here, like this and the like whole like punk like kick down the door scene in the second episode and stuff, like it all just kind of like works, like, you know.
It works so well, and we get to see the emotions shown in both the music and the visuals, which is so integral to animation. It is, because you're not working with, like, you know, actual people. You have to exaggerate everything. So having the visuals and music show it as well is
and the music is just really good. Just I am generally not a fan of Imagine Dragons, but it just hits. It's something about a good show that makes their music hit for me.
It's stunning. It's breathtaking, and this music was meant for Arcane. Not just Imagine Dragons, but every single song they've put in this series.
Yeah.
I need multiple playlists, because season 1 and season 2 have banger after banger, and I can't get enough. But just to reframe this on the episodes themselves, this entire first episode is Piltover's POV. What is happening after this immediate tragedy? They don't skip ahead. They literally take place right after the tragedy. We see Jace taking his partner, Victor. Yes, I Freudian slip, my bad. To be put back together by the Hex Core that he was asked to destroy, but he just can't, because he can't lose his best friend. lover. I mean best friend. Sorry guys, I just can't get over it. I am a Jace Victor shipper forever. And no one will change my mind on it. I promise. But yeah, no, like the first episode, we deal with the immediate consequences. We deal with a broken council, and Mel's mother trying to put a foot in the door so that she has access to what she's been after all this time.
And she has all the power to do it now. Like, there is very little stopping her outside of Mel, and then by the end of this act, even that's gone.
Yeah, everything that would have stopped her from getting what she wants, which is power, is gone by the end of this. To the point that she's so blinded by her thirst for that power, she doesn't even realize her daughter is gone.
That's a good point. Yeah, like and plus it mirrors the first season with her son, and like, you know, like how he died because she was so focused on gathering power for her family. You know, that she couldn't like protect her son.
That's what I love about Arcane season 1 and 2. Each episode is mirroring and distorting what the fuck just happened previously. It always goes back to the beginning. It always goes back to legacy and how we destroy it. I'm gonna be real. I was not prepared for what happens at the end of episode 1, because episode 1 spends a lot of time with us grieving the losses we just experienced. We don't know if Victor's going to wake up. We don't know how the council's going to move forward with this. They're going to send a militia into the fucking city of Zon. They're going to do this. They have a speech they have to prepare. Vi's dealing with the fact her girlfriend kind of hates her, but also still loves her. And she's grieving the loss of her sister, who just killed people. A lot of people, made problems for everyone. And so we're focused so much on that, we're not looking at the obvious. The first strike just happened. Why would they stop at 1?
And they try for peace. I do love that. Like, you know, I think in like any other show, like it would be like, oh man, yeah, they attacked us, all out war. In real life, it would be like, oh man, and they attacked us, all out war. But here, it's like, no, it was the act of a crazy individual. Let's not get, let's not declare war immediately, and then more attacks happen, and that's what pushes them. Like, it's like everyone is so reasonable in this show, and they still make mistakes. They still fuck up, though. It is crazy.
What I love about that, though, is it's so true to real life. No matter how reasonable the choice is, if it involves other people abiding by that choice, it won't work. It is like our D&D sessions when we make a plan. That plan is not going to happen, even if we think it all the way through. You're better off just being my editor's paladin, Renato, and just running it anyway. Just do it. There's no point in planning. Just go ahead and run in. But no, an epic battle fucking takes place at the end of this. We see Zonites somehow sneak into this amazing party. Not really party, but like grievance hall, where
it's a memorial. It's a memorial.
I can't talk. This is what has to normally be edited out, but that's not going to happen here, hopefully, so you guys can see how much of a fuck up I am. There's this memorial that takes place where Mel is speaking, and somehow these Zonites just get in, no problem, really easily. And then, you go?
And I never even questioned it at the time either, too. Like, it's like I didn't even question it. I was so like looped into, oh shit, wait a minute, that's Singe.
That's a person with clear Zon-like tattoos on their neck, wearing a guard uniform, and they're dropping weapons, and people are wearing things covering their faces and very loose robes, almost like they need to move quickly. And we see in slow motion the realization dawn on Vi. The person get onto the stage right behind Mel. The woman who lost her son in season 1 of the Chem Barons, telling Jace, isn't it terrible just losing a loved one? And then we see Mel's armor / jewelry react so briefly, almost like it's warning her something terrible is getting ready to happen. And an all-out invasion happens. It is breathtakingly beautiful.
And it's such a good one. I was like, and like later they mentioned like, oh, like, and the number is 4-1, like that's how much bigger the Piltover military is. But like here, but they're making these first strikes and hitting them when they least expected, and it just makes it like it makes their menace so big, only for the power to shift when Piltover finally it brings down the hammer too.
It is insane, the action sequence. Like, the animators, bravo to them. The music, the sound design, the fear. All of it is so prevalent because no one in the scene is prepared. They don't have their Hextech weapons. They're not ready to engage. This was a memorial. And Zahn took advantage of that. We see some really cool shit happen with
what's this, like, a chemical chainsaw thing?
Oh my god, the chemical chainsaw is insane. And we see, like, fucking Jace enter a horror movie as he runs away from Chemical Chainsaw Woman. That's what I have to say. This act alone is just a horror movie for each character at a different point. Like, each time they think they're safe, they're isolated, they're alone, like a slasher movie, and they're chased down, and they're left questioning, am I going to live or die?
Yeah, like this episode had like Jace and the and the Piltover people, and then the second episode had the Zonites and like Jinx as the
final girl. Oh my god, the final girl of Jinx, I never thought I'd see.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Something before we get to like fully into episode 2, I just want to quickly say, 1, the amount of bullets these fucking mechs can take, insane, terrifying. I don't know what Caitlyn's gonna do against them with a regular gun. Secondly, it was really cool to see Vi use Jace's weapon.
Yes, it was.
As someone who fucking plays League of Legends, that's something I never thought I'd get to see, is a champion using another champion's attack. And it's so fucking good. My god. But yeah, episode 1 ends with the memorial fight, and then Caitlyn making the ultimatum and showing everyone her power. She is a Kiraman, and she's going to lead an enforcer squad into Zahn to take down Jinx.
You take down Jinx, Shimmer, and disable this war before it gets too big, which is it's such a great and reasonable response. Just send a special strike force, and you don't have to declare war. Like it's crazy that everyone has the best of intentions here. It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter, and how quickly just an ounce of suffering can lead to the best intentions paving the way to hell. Because everyone is entering hell in this season. There's no other way to say it. And Caitlyn gets her gun that she has in the game. Her gun that I am terrified of as a support, because it's always used against me.
It's the Hextech gun, yeah.
It's the Hextech gun that, if you are the target of her ult, you better hope someone else gets in the way of it, so it doesn't do much damage to them, and you don't have to take any. That's the one thing about Caitlyn's ult that I think I like, is that someone else can actually interrupt it, without having to, disable Caitlyn. It's not like a useless ult.
God.
Yeah, no, like, because some ults in that game, just to quickly go on like a little side tangent, it is a, hey, I'm using this right now, hopefully it works. Whereas the ults I really like are, hey, I'm targeting this one specific player, and it's going to go after this player. Whether or not that player dies is up to the circumstances of the game. But oh my god, Caitlyn's ult is beautiful, and they do a great job of showing it in this season.
I also do love how they established like the rest of the of the special squad. Like it's like, and we see them as just normal enforcers, and like Maddie, like in particular, like the blonde girl, like, and she's so like optimistic about stuff. And so when she sees someone like Caitlyn like take power, or them gas fucking Zon
with the gray.
She has no problem with it. Like, oh yeah, no, like we're the good guys though.
We're the good guys. We're the good guys. So there's no problem with this. And the way that they also establish this bond between all the enforcers we see on the special squad, because they're also in a horror movie in this episode.
I come on, no, like about the big guy that got drunk with Vi for no reason. Like, what was that?
And he uses a special shield. Like, I want to know which character that is, because I love him so much. He's the real star.
It comes in, it gets drunk with Vi, and then they're a team now. Look at that. Instant.
Exactly. Look at them go. My God. But no, like episode 1, that episode alone was worth 3 years by itself.
Yeah, agreed.
And to start episode 2, oh my God, I needed to see Jinx so badly, and to see her in the middle of Zaun's downfall since she killed Silco is not only so terrifying, but breathtaking. How they showcase her literally walking through the city not mattering to her anymore because it's completely gone. You only see the people. She only sees the people fighting each other, not the city, not anything. She only sees violence.
And she's totally fine with it too. Like, and she tells like Savika, like, just let it all burn. Like it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And we see Savika, who is the perfect kingmaker, by the way. She doesn't want to lead. She just wants she doesn't want the smoke that comes with leading. She just wants the people of Zaun to have somebody to follow. She just wants the people of Zaun to be united. And she knows that a person needs to be the one to do it, and that she just isn't the person for it.
True. And she has no and she has no real lust for power. Yeah, like
it's perfect. It's we see her she is a person when she finds herself in a situation for survival. Her loyalty might switch, but whoever can provide her the most survival chance gets her undying loyalty until they're gone. Not dead, gone.
Yep. Until their ideals don't matter anymore.
Until their ideals literally hurt the people of Zaun. And that's what I find so fucking beautiful about how she finds herself in the boardroom she used to be in with Silco, realizing the other people who are going down like flies, useless. She's like, they're fucking killing each other. There's no point.
They're too busy fighting as Piltover is like preparing their armies.
And she even points out this is exactly what Piltover wants. They want us to fight each other. And so when she realizes there's no point, she leaves. She leaves and she goes back to her old office where she sees Jinx. And Jinx lets her know it's all just gonna burn anyway. I'm just gonna watch it.
We got to talk about this weird side plot that only appears at the end of every episode.
Oh my god, the weird side plot it happens at the end of the episode. Fucking Singed, building
a wolf man.
Yes, making a wolf man, and I wonder who the wolf man's gonna be. You know. It's almost like it's the worst kept secret in Arcane.
The Hound of the Underground. Who could it be?
Who could it be? Which is, what a way to distort a symbol, right? Like literally desecrate the body of a hero in your city and bring him back as a weapon. That is such a way to desecrate someone's legacy.
Also, like, I do love how, like, they start with that name, like, oh yeah, like, Evander, the Hound Underground, and like, no one like brought it like up as a connection until he like died, and the people are like, wait a minute, that sounds like Warwick.
It sounds like Warwick, and it has Warwick's theme on it in all the trailer stuff. Oh my god, wait.
That's weird.
But like that's the thing with this show. It is
so subtle.
So subtle, so meticulous. Everyone's theme matters. And
they made Vander so like likable. They made it
so likable that like a few people we know accidentally made characters just completely based off of him by accident. But no, like we see Jinx mourning the family that she once had, the family that she destroyed. And she has created this outlook of everyone who gets close to me dies. And it's so interesting that like she views this way, because that's happenstance. Every time someone gets close to Jinx, it's not her fault directly that they die. It is the circumstances that they are placed in where she feels like there is no other choice to act that lead to them dying. Whether we look at...
my opinion, that started with Vi by accident. When she called her a Jinx and she punched her, like that was the beginning of the end, like for their relationship. And they both just like did not like realize it at the time, but like that started Jinx on her path from Powder, you know? Like
Powder stood no chance in this world. She entered this world in turmoil, and she's never known peace. So that's why she can only see the violence. She doesn't care about the violence anymore, but she can only see it. And indirectly, she ends up saving a little girl at the start of this episode. A little girl who's running around away from people, who just happens to run into her. Jinx doesn't want to get close to this girl. This girl runs towards her. This girl keeps chasing after her, and you know she's wearing an adorable hat that some people would say is reminiscent of a devil. I think is a beautiful little angel, but also a devil. Don't question it. And we just keep seeing this girl run after her later on. But what's important here is Jinx solves the problem, tells her just to be on her own, and this girl ends up helping her later. It's just a constant back and forth. And we get to a point where we're left wondering, how does Jinx make connections now? Can she make connections? Or is everything in the future just going to be too much of a Jinx for her to take? Too much of a gamble?
This girl is probably like, it's the start of her followers. I think that she is going to like rally Zion, but the thing is, I am worried about this child. Like, I think she's gonna die to make Jinx even crazier.
And you know what the thing is? I honestly think the craziest take I saw online is, how does this character even fit in this world? What does she even add to this? What is her connection to Jinx and Vi? And like, it's just a child. There's no need for a connection. It is someone who
add a sense of innocence, like the added sense of innocence that Jinx doesn't have anymore. But also, you know, what happens when she loses?
What happens when she sees that leave? Because
she's gonna be, she's involved herself now in a crazy world.
and I honestly can't wait till we get to the theory portion of this video, because I have so many to go through. But like, this episode is insane. We see this girl start following her, and it's very stealthy and sneaky. And we see Jinx talk to Sveka. I always pronounce her name wrong. I'm so sorry. And we see how the connections just keep building. But that's not the only plot in this episode, right? Because there is one of the Chem Barons, this ratty ass man.
This gremlin dude. I do have to admit, I really like his design. Like like his bionic arms are like the size of his body, and so he like uses them to move around and stuff. It's fucking like really creative.
It's
cool.
incredibly creative. But that's the thing with this show. Every character's design is so methodically done that you can see their personality in this. Of course, a man who's thirsty for power would give himself bionic arms to reach further and stronger.
It just dripped out arms.
And this is where we get the first scene of something called the Gray, right? Like where we introduce to him going and investigating another person's place to take power from it. He sends his person in there, and he experiences a thick fog cloud called the Gray that we learn the Kiramans, Caitlyn's family, actually got rid of. They did a benevolent thing for Zahn. They created a ventilation system that sucked out the Gray and filtered the air to a point where it was more manageable. It wasn't this monstrous smog that made people fucking terrified and sick. And we see here, Caitlyn is weaponizing the benevolent thing her family did.
It was pretty fucked up. Yeah, it's pretty
like
fucked up.
literally, like it goes back to Singe's whole thing about what will one do to their legacy to preserve themselves.
Oh, that is a fair point.
And the thing is, Caitlyn has taken benevolent action and turned it into malicious impact. She now can at any point harm any section of Zahn with a little twist of a key.
And she did.
She did. She did several times to get the information she wanted. And we don't even see Caitlyn doing this. We just see this nightmare scenario for these people. And we see it again just later on after Jinx has her meeting with Svek. She goes back to the arcade and she builds an amazing arm for her friend. Well, not friend, but, a person that she still kind of cares about. And this is where we get her final girl horror movie.
And she's basically her like crazy aunt. She's basically
That's such a great way of putting it. It's her crazy aunt, and my God, is it's so weird to be so enthralled by a horror movie the way I am, but I always am. And this show does a great job of showing a horror movie from the perspective of the victim. Because Jinx doesn't get a moment to fully work on this arm. She finishes it, sure. But that's when Caitlyn and Vi run in there with their enforcers and traumatize the shit out of this girl.
I do love that scene too, because it's like it shows how fast like power can change hands. Like Jinx is not the invincible master planner in that moment. Like she's been caught off guard, and they show it. That's such a rare like detail for like shows like this. Like
it showed that no one is invincible. Everyone here is human at the end of the day. Even the non-humans are human. And
like Arcane did that. Like it's like in the first season, and we see like Silco like and get threatened by the other Chem Barons, and he has no like enforcer there, and he's alone, and he like at the end of the, like that scene, he panics, and he like shows his like heavy breathing. Like it's such a good way to show like, hey, they look invincible. They put on this facade for the streets, like for the reputation, but like at the end of the day, they are still people, and it humanizes them, which makes their which makes the terrible acts just so much more tragic feeling. Like
it is a tragedy in the making, which I love about Arcane so much. And we actually end up getting to see the aftermath of this fight. Jinx is running away. She thinks she's managed to get to safety. And then that Chem Baron, the really ratty guy, attacks her, and he corners her, and he just tells her, that's what really fucks you up, isn't it? I'm a man who gets in close to fight. You stood no chance. And right before she's saved by the little girl and Svek, Jinx tells him, don't you know? Everyone who gets in close dies. And it's so beautiful. Because she immediately tells him, you're the kind of guy who likes to get in close. And it frightens him. Yeah. And his enforcers try to get in, but that's when they just go off, Svek and this little girl. I think her name's Ishta. And that's when we get introduced to the fucking arm Jinx makes, which is a literal gambling machine. It is so insane.
It was so distinctive and too like Jinx. Like
it is, but it also plays into, you know, this woman's entire personality, remember? Because every time we saw her in season 1, when Vi would engage, we saw Svek gambling. Every single time.
Really?
Yes, really? Every single time. She was playing poker with people. Every single time. So
it doesn't. Oh yeah, like that. That's why. That's why. Like at first she's like super like unimpressed, but then but then she starts like to enjoy it. The more that she uses it,
she knows what. James is a very intelligent woman, and I don't think enough people give her credit for the fact that she knows what makes people tick, and she wants, if you're on her side, she wants you to be as efficient as possible. So she knows that for someone like Svekia, who I'm just changing her name rapidly now, she knows that this woman likes to gamble. So why not make her weapon more satisfying for her? Every time she does it, it's a different effect. And each time it's sillier and stranger and more intriguing. And there's 3 options that all combined. And the visuals they use on the weapon itself are insane. And that's what I love most is like, we get to see the full effects of this. And we get our like squad of Jinx. Like everyone's getting a different faction this season. Jinx, Svek, and Ishta are their own little faction, right? Then you have the enforcers with Caitlyn and Vi. You have Mel and the council for the most part. And then Jace.
And Echo and Heim have kind of formed their own like little team up.
Exactly. And then sadly at the end we see a breakup of Jace and Victor because Victor does wake up this episode, and
Victor, yeah, it's very interesting. Like we kind of knew that like Victor would become like, you know, all like the team.
But we didn't know it would be this heartbreaking to see it happen. I didn't realize I was gonna cry. They literally break up. Like this is guys, the lovers broke up. I'm sad now. You know, Jace no longer has his twink boyfriend. And you know, Victor goes off and becomes a fucking messiah for the people suffering from Shimmer. Which, you know, he started a cult. That's his faction. We have so many different factions here, and I trust Arcane implicitly to actually deliver on all of them. Oh, God. No, like, everything's falling into place. By episode 2, everything is falling into place, and each person has a plan. And in episode 3, we see how all of those plans go. And
Crashing dead.
Mm-hmm. What?
And I love like I love the opening scene too. It's this like biopunk like style of like art style. It's so grungy.
It's so grungy, and episode 3 literally is just, this is what we mean when we say the art style, when it changes, it doesn't feel like it's going to send you out of here. It feels perfect. It shows what the character's going through. And it's absolutely stunning. I feel like I'm literally seeing a comic book come to life, which is my favorite thing in media, is to see that happen. You compared it to freaking Borderlands, right?
Yeah. It's the shell. It's the cell shade and the 3D models. It just like gives that vibe. The song too.
Oh, it's all so fucking stunning, and we see freaking the enforcers go up against Jinx's trap and realize, This does not end well for us if we all go. So Caitlin and Vi agree to send them away, and we get our first real damn kiss from these two women that we've been waiting for so damn long.
Minutes away. I did kind of interpret it to see because, like, in this scene, they are already fraying. Like, you know, I kind of interpret the kiss as them like trying to keep it together. Like, it's their last like thing they can do. You know,
I think it's like almost like a goodbye kiss,
and it's just not enough. Yeah,
it's not enough. Like, there's love here, there is. But there is so much animosity in both of them.
Too many differences. There's too many crimes.
Mm-hmm. Like everything is stacked on top of each other, and now it's just bleeding. And then we see freaking the best heist sequence we've ever seen. A little bit later, with fucking Heimerdinger and Echo sneaking into Heim's own building.
That one was very fun.
It was very funny, and we learned that basically Echo's whole plot here is the tree that he's based his entire settlement around, his entire faction, is dying from some type of corruption that Heim saw when he was looking at Jace and Victor's research with the Hex Core, and learned that it was corrupting plant life, plant matter, and decaying it. So that's why they're heisting. And they learn about how Hextech works by asking magic to do something, and it gives a response. It gives the command. But the more you ask it, Echo points out, the more fucking tired it's going to get. And it causes the wild rune to appear. And the wild rune is fucking everything over.
It's wild and like it's wild and natural, and it's not something they can control it with their technology. So like that's the biggest problem. And you know what? It props to Echo. He's the real like leader of Zon. Like I think, like we said, like he's and it's probably like the hope for the future of Zon. But like, you know, like all the Chem Barons are like fighting amongst themselves or like destroying stuff. Echo is here like taking refugees from the conflict, and he's trying to fix the magic pollution problem
that Piltover is causing, because as he points out even later in the episode, Piltover built a safety measure not in their neck of the woods, in Zon's. It was going to blow up underground if it ever got too bad, and that would have fucked up so much infrastructure that Zon needs that Piltover didn't even consider it a problem.
And it's so realistic.
It is. Like, it literally shows what happens when you let one fucking place control everything else. It doesn't end well for anyone else. And we get into the nitty-gritty of another plot happening in Piltover just a little bit before these revelations, with Mel learning about her mother, Ambessa Medarda's plans via a very interesting character we learn about, Lest. Interestingly designed, who is working for Sallow in offering some pain relief with Shimmer. And we learn about, in this episode, that the amazing Ambessa Medarda is rushing to get assistance and power in Piltover because this thing called the Black Rose is coming for her and was responsible for the death of her son, which might be why Ambessa is so ready and willing to not let her daughter in on what's going on here.
And what she's so adamant about getting Hextech weaponized.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's funny that like we talk about like, you know, how she's so adamant about this, because if they had just completely gone with her plan and she got the Hextech, technically it wouldn't be the Noxus's problem once they got the hex tech. It'd be Piltovers, because that would have been even more stuff for the Wild Rune to absorb.
That is true.
So, like, there's just no problems for them. And we just keep seeing these problems layer up for Mbessa, right? Because not only is she seeing glimpses of the Black Rose here, with Amara, a previous character, attacking her, but we later see the Black Rose kill Mel's assistant, I think, and take Mel, which Mbessa doesn't even notice by the end of this episode.
Nope. Because she's too busy installing a
dictatorship, and she's way too willing. We also see like a lot of other things finally come to a head. Because in this episode, Vi and Jinx have their fight.
So early. I feel like, yeah, again, in any other show, this would have been the last scene. But it's the end of the first act, which makes me think, like, what is gonna happen next? How are they gonna resolve it?
I honestly think, like, I was gonna say this for the theory portion, but I'll just say now, I think these two sisters are gonna make them end. I think they're gonna make them end, and they're going to fight whatever threat is coming their way at the end of this. I genuinely think that's the case, because their fight here is so serious, and they're in this temple for another champion, by the way, Janna, the wind goddess, and they're having this fight where it's so climactic. Everything's coming to a head as everything unfolds. You have Mel disappearing. You have Echo, Jace, and Heimerdinger visiting the failsafe area and seeing the Wild Rune, interacting with it, and it causes everything to fritz out as the fight unfolds. You have Caitlyn fighting Spec, and it's close range versus long range, and my God, does this woman put in the fucking hours in these fights? She might not win, but she does not lose. She does not lose. She just doesn't ever win, right? Like, she's never gonna die, but she just doesn't win. And we see that, like
like victim of the dragon syndrome, where she's the second strongest of the main villain, and so she's really strong, but she'll never really win, you know. And
that's fine, right? Like, that's okay. But my God, would it be nice for her to just get one win? And like, this fight's happening as Hex Tech goes kablooey. Everything's fucking up. Everything's glitching out. And they almost completely win. Like, they shoot off one of Jinx's fingers. She's not leaving this fight unharmed. She has to get a prosthetic for all of this. But they literally just implode. We see them get so close to capturing Jinx. But Jinx, just being done, just tells her, finish it. Finish it, Vi. I'm glad it was you. And that throws Vi completely off, because even if she says that Powder's dead, that is still her sister.
Yeah, she just can't do it, yeah.
She just can't do it, and that fucks Caitlyn up so bad, because a little girl interrupts that fight. Isha interrupts that fight. The biggest follower of Jinx. Begins to fight, and everything just breaks apart. Weapons are destroyed. Futures collapsed. And Caitlyn ends up shooting Vi, technically. She shoots her. Yeah. And they break up at the end with Caitlyn saying, you know, of course you couldn't do it. You have her fucking blood in your veins. And Vi points out, hey, I'm not the one acting like her.
Caitlyn tried to hold back the racism for a good 12 episodes.
This is the perfect example of someone with privilege trying to be good, trying to see someone marginalized as a person, but an ounce of suffering caused by a member of that group, leading to just all of that empathy crumbling in a second.
And to be fair to Caitlyn, she did suffer a lot. Like her sister.
It's not an ounce. I'm just saying, like, it's a very good example of what happens when someone in a place of privilege has tried to do good, and someone who just happens to be a member of the thing that person was speaking for and standing up for causes them harm in such a dramatic way. Because Caitlyn's world is gone. She doesn't have a mom. She doesn't know what to do. She didn't take the shot. She could have solved all of this if she just didn't listen to her girlfriend.
And she had the shot twice too. Like
it's so fucked. And it just makes her downfall all the more sad, right? Like, we saw the potential for good in Caitlyn. And to see her being taken advantage of at the very end when they have their breakup, and later going into her union with Mbessa as her general, which, sorry, Sallow, you were never the main target. I'm so sorry. You introduced her to the Kiraman spell.
But like, it does feel that I don't really like about that. It's like Mbessa was like, oh, well, it's either Mel or it's Sallow, and then like, but if she did like either of them, really, they would have been too peaceful or too like complacent, and to be a strong ruler, like in her mind, you know. And she doesn't want a puppet, and she wants Hextech and to bring back into her kingdom, you know, in her nation. And so she gets like Caitlyn, a like strong-willed and like proven person, the biggest vendetta on Zion, and to lead it, which makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense, and in all honesty, I just cannot wait to see how all of it unfolds. We are going to be seeing so much shit in probably like Saturday. We're gonna see so much shit unfold Saturday, because where do these characters go? Are we gonna get a time skip? What happens? And we can definitely talk about that very soon, because we just talked about like the last moment of this episode. Everything has gone up in flames. Mel's gone. Victor has started his cult. Vi and Caitlyn broke up. Caitlyn's a dictator now. And Bessa has gotten what she kind of wants. And Jinx, Ishta, and Svek are underground in Janna's chamber. Like, that's the end of Act 1.
Yeah, they definitely survived.
There's no way they're killing them off. But before we get into theories, can we just talk about how like so many Easter eggs there are in this damn show?
True. I am not a League player, so I don't know most of them. But you point out there's like so many. Oh wait, I did get Teemo's hat.
You got Teemo's hat, and then I showed you in the arcade that they had a literal game for Teemo there.
Yeah.
And they also had murals of Janna. I was like, that's either Janna or maybe Syndra, but I don't know why Syndra would be here. And then we learn Janna's basically the fucking patron goddess of Zon, and she helps them breathe.
When you explained Janna as the wind god, I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense for like Zon. Like country that can like barely breathe.
Of course, they'd worship a goddess who is
pray
the wind.
For wind. There is like great.
And we also at the end of Act 1 kind of get our monster fully put together, don't we? Because Singed has gotten all of his parts and he's pumping it through a heart.
And he's pumping his own like blood into it.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. You're right. Fuck.
But like, why is he making it? Is the real question. Like, what's the goal here?
I don't know. We need to see it was in that fucking like locket. Yeah. I'm so ready to see how this next fucking act. What are your theories? I want to know.
There's a number one. It would be like, you know, I do still think that this is going to end in bloodshed. I feel like Jinx has no qualms about killing Vi now. Like, you can see that like she was going for the kill, like in every move. What happens when Vi no longer has that? Like, will she get it? Because I don't think resolution is. I don't think it's possible now. I feel like there's too much bloodshed now.
No, I think there's absolutely a possible resolution here. I truly do. But I don't think it's going to be resolution that leads to them being sister buddy again. I think it leads to we've both been through so much shit.
Actually,
Hmm?
now that Caitlyn, I know we said that Caitlyn would survive, but I think she's on the chopping block now.
Oh my god, you're right. We have to like redo our prediction video.
Because now they've had their brief romance, and now she's head and now she's like head general, the president. Like it's not looking good for her.
Yeah, head general, president, and oh my god, is it just going to be bloodshed? I can feel it now. She's going to survive because she's been through too much. I think she's going to die now because she puts everyone through too much now.
Now she's gonna put people through too much.
Okay, that's your first theory,
And
right?
then, yes, and then Echo has to find his time shit somewhere, and it's probably going to be through their experience with this wild room. They're going to be like blinked into the past or the future or whatever, and then they'll be like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna replicate that."
Honestly, I feel like whatever. I think he might already have the timepiece thing. It just doesn't do exactly what he needs it to for his ult. I think the wild room is going to infect it and make it all the more stronger.
That makes sense.
I know for a fact that Victor is going to be the cause of the arcane waking up in people because he's literally curing the shimmer, but he's leaving them with these metallic parts that are very, very similar to his, and he's able to do this. So I think the shimmer interacting with the hex core is why we're getting the arcane waking up. Like the wild rune is just going to latch onto them and just blast of magic. It's going to be dangerous. My other theory is this is going to be a far out one. I think Mel is either going to escape the Black Rose, mostly unharmed, or I think she's going to join them as Cassiopeia. I think she's going to be Cassiopeia. I'm so sorry, but I can see it happening, and mostly because she is technically like the upper echelon of Noxus, and she might be seeking ancient power, so that lines up really well with what goes on with Cassiopeia and her origin myth. I'm so sorry, Mel Medarda lovers. I think she might be turning into a snake woman. But hey, look, she's the scariest snake woman in that game, so there's something, right? But I think that's it. I think that's those are my theories.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to us rabble and ramble. I'll talk to y'all another time. Bye.